Welcome to the Ask the Imam show. This is Gary Payne. Imam Musri, thanks for coming back again.
My pleasure to be here.
I'd like to talk to you about something, and it's been kind of heavy on me, and I don't know how to say this, and I don't mean no disrespect, but about God. For instance, I have an issue with my hand right now. It's just a little problem I'm having. I can't bend it. And no disrespect, but God's not fixing my hand. I saw my doctor, and they gave me some medication. And when taking my medication, I follow what they say, I'll be fine. A couple hours, I'll be perfectly fine. There was no God or no thing that came and fixed me. I mean, I'm just trying to get on this thing about you're standing behind that there's a God, and so how do we justify that, so to speak?
Yeah, for a lot of people, they don't see how God impacts their lives day to day, and therefore God becomes irrelevant in their lives. In other words, they assume that I can live all my life without needing to ask God for anything, and I don't have a way of proving that God did anything for me. That's because simply everything is set well, meaning God created and perfected creation and put the laws of physics and chemistry and math and everything in place, that everything works, clock works, that you don't need to see it. Usually, if your car is functioning very well, or your phone, if your iPhone never gives you a problem, that workmanship, that perfection is sometimes causes you to think that, what did the company who made it do for me? Nothing. Well, they gave you a quality thing in the first place that they don't need to keep coming and fixing it for you. Okay? So God created, for example, created us with, we need to breathe, we need oxygen, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't see oxygen tanks on your back or my back. I don't need to carry it around. I don't need to buy it in the market. It's available everywhere. And it's designed in such a way that I can breathe it, okay, without having to pay for it. So if God didn't do it right and I need to buy it from somewhere, I don't think we would live long, right? If somebody else controls it, he may control our lives. But the fact is that around Earth there is an atmosphere, and the percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere is 20%. That is sufficient for all of us and all living things to use, to breathe, and has been constant all throughout. And, it is convenient, it is a gas, not a liquid like in a river, like water that we have to go fetch it. All of this we take for granted that it is there. But who put it there? Why is it that way? Okay? Why we have 70% of our body is water. The same thing, there's 70% of the surface of the earth is water. And this is not accidental. We could not survive without water. NASA right now just discovered there's water on the moon. So that opens, it's frozen in the dark side, but that opens the possibility for life on the moon in the future if we can harness that water. On Mars, the same idea. If there is no water, there is no life. Well, who put enough water, abundant water here for life to thrive on Earth? Okay? I didn't make it. You didn't make it. The people who don't believe in God didn't make it. It was there, and they're using it. And they are not paying for it, and they're not giving thanks to the one who made it. So if your heart is beating, who designed the heart to beat for all your life? 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. When you are asleep, it's beating. When you are awake, it's beating. When you are running, it's beating. When you forget, it's beating. Okay? Give me a computer that human beings have done that can run for 100 years and doesn't take a break, doesn't stop. That's the marvelous design of God. That, yeah, we get sick, but God also put things around us that we can use to treat ourselves and get better. He put properties in the body that it can self-heal in many ways. You know, you get a cold and your body has the immune system to fight and to, in few days, get back. Okay, so for millennia, there was no pharmaceutical companies producing all these medicines. And perhaps what the pharmaceutical companies are producing are making us more sick than our ancestors who used to live without this. Okay? For every medicine that you swallow, there is some side effects that may be causing damage because we don't have enough knowledge. And those are considerations to think about, and not to say, well, there is no God, no one healed me, it was the pill that the pharmaceutical company healed my hand. Say, is that true? All what the pharmaceutical company did is study the effect of these substances that already existed, how to use them for your hand. But they didn't create them themselves from nothing. So God is invisible to us, but the prince, the impact of God is everywhere around us.
Isn't to intervene, I guess, or say, excuse me, isn't like these stories, like when I was growing up, we hear all these stories about God and the prophets. Isn't this like for children? You know, it's like, and most of the time, and my brother and I had a long conversation, isn't it usually for people of middle class and poor? You don't hear most of the upper class into religion. It's usually middle class and poor. The ones who want a better life. The ones who cannot get a more successful life. The ones who want more. From what I've seen.
No, it is, there were a lot of rich and wealthy people who have, you know, been very religious, very generous, helped a lot of people, you know, built hospitals, built universities. So there is no such relationship. But do more poor people and needy people believe in the miracles or the superstitious side of religion? Yes. And we have to differentiate between actual miracles, meaning a prophet to prove that he is telling the truth and that he is a messenger of God, that he is being supported by God. He has to show something for it, to say, you know, if I can do something, like Jesus healed the sick or the blind, well, that is an evidence that the man is being helped by God, has supernatural power. If he made a claim, like many people today make claims, and they can't back it up with anything, they're just prophets wannabe, and they are not true prophets. So we have to differentiate between true miracles and superstition that some people believe in. Islam is based in science, based in knowledge, based in using your intellect. You have to prove things, but it does not, we don't believing in God and working through science, there's any contradiction.
Okay, well, I definitely appreciate your kind of getting in depth in this. Kind of answer a little bit for me. If you guys have any comments or questions, please mark them below and like and subscribe. Thank you for your time.